Let's talk a little bit about Baby Reindeer, because this is a really trending thing.
I just finished it.
Right, I haven't finished it, but I'm not going to finish it.
Why?
It didn't appeal to me.
He's a hater, that's why.
I am a bit of a hater on it, but not because I think it's bad or anything. It's just not that this type of stuff is not stuff that I feel like, I need to watch the next episode. But I am well up to date on the lore because it's been going viral on TikTok. Can you explain a little bit about it, Chip?
Yeah, so obviously it's about this comedian.
Sorry to interrupt, but Phil, we need a spoiler warning if people haven't
spoiler
seen
warning. Can we start off by telling them the cool aspects of the show?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a true story, but the main character plays himself
Yes.
Yeah, so some people didn't know that. Sabina watched it, didn't have a clue until the end. But obviously, I think it's better to know going in after I've watched it. So yeah, it's a comedian, bit of a failed comedian who just works in a bar. He works in bar in Camden.
Camden, yeah.
How deep do I want to go with this? Essentially, this woman comes into the bar and he gives her a cup of tea, right? Just friendly gesture. She said she was a lawyer with no money. That's a red flag straight off the bat.
Yeah, ain't no lawyer in London. There's no such thing as a broke lawyer in London.
Put a cup of tea as well, in a pub. That's probably a couple of quid.
That's a red flag. If anybody goes into a pub and orders a cup of tea, serial killer energy.
But she starts flexing like David Cameron in her phone and phone book and stuff. Anyway, gives her this cup of tea and then it just spirals from there. She ends up becoming the craziest stalker I ever seen in my life.
What sort of levels was she going to?
Level that it goes to the point where she's emailing. She gets hold of his email. She starts getting in touch with his parents. She starts going on his Facebook, commenting on his ex-missus photo saying ugly bitch and all this kind of shit. And then she's just watching him at home. She sits outside of the bus stop outside his house. She just rocks up to his house randomly one day and joins a dinner party. He gets home and sees her at this dinner party. He's like, what the fuck? It was crazy.
And this is all a true story.
This is all a true story, yeah. And they've found the real woman online.
So I assume in the actual thing, they've obviously given her a different name. It's a different woman, but you know what I find? They always manage to find a similar looking woman, and the build tends to be the same.
They could have just gone for someone completely different.
They could have. I guess they could. Probably should have.
I have a theory about this, though. I feel like he's done it on purpose because he knew that people would find her and he wants to make her life hell a bit, almost.
It's one of those things. People are like, oh, he said if you're looking for the people online, you're missing the whole point of the show. And I'm like, come on, man. If you're making a Netflix show, that's a true story. People are going to, and it's in London, people are going to be looking for these people.
Not only that, so wait, just to go through it,
it's
people online have essentially witch hunted, managed to find this real person who they found like her tweets from ages ago. Yeah. And they're a bit weird, aren't they?
They're real, so it's like, it just backs up his story, because if you go and look at her account, she's got all the tweets. She's tweeting him in like 2014 or 16. Just like all the
stalkerish type of tweets.
All the tweets that pop up in the show where she's just like saying really weird, strange stuff. The spelling's obviously a bit off. It's a bit mental. You can have a scroll through and just see for yourself. And more has come out today. Yesterday I was on Twitter. She's put a statement out on Facebook. And it's a mental.
So the statement, it's a bit long to read. It's setting up for a sequel,
in my opinion.
I'm not gonna lie. The statement really reads like somebody's guilty. Like it is her. But there's no way. Like just the way it's written. Yeah. Like there is hatred towards him in the statement. Yeah. And she's referencing him as a person and like him being like a bad person.
Where did you see this statement?
It's going viral.
If you go on Twitter,
it'll be there.
And type her in, you'll be able to just type in Fiona. It'll probably just come.
But her name is Fiona Harvey, and obviously in the show she's called Martha Scott.
Yeah. And I mean, to be honest, we're not really revealing too much there because it's all over Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to bring some up about the statement, because the statement she says in her statement, and obviously we have to take everything she says with a pinch of salt, but she does say she's got no criminal convictions. But in the show, she does get arrested and charged and goes to jail.
Interesting.
So I'm just wondering, is it in the show? Is it like one of those things where they take half the story and then dramatize the rest? You know,
that would be... Yeah, because that is a very common thing.
Yeah.
That I feel as though that when you're dealing with a true story, stuff like that can be traced back to people.
You can't lie.
That's really dangerous.
You can't be. Yeah, if she actually didn't go to prison, you can't just fucking say she did.
Yeah.
That's why I think she must have, and she's lying. Like, surely you can just find out by searching her up on some kind of
I don't know.
website.
Because, but then you hear, in this statement, all right, by the way, this is on Facebook, so I do feel as though we got to take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
But one of the things that she said, in here, she literally says, he seems to have some fat, ugly woman called Martha being played by an actress pretending to be me.
What?
That's just a mad thing to say, regardless. And it's are you telling me this person claimed to be a lawyer?
Yeah.
Just the way it's written, this is it lacks basic English, grammar. And I don't think that you could be a lawyer with this level of English. Or if you are, it's not one that I'm fucking paying for.
The thing is, in the show, it does actually show that she was some form of lawyer at some point. There was a certificate, I think.
Yeah, in her flat.
In her flat of her, passing some.
But you never know, though. She might have just been so mentally ill that she's performed this whole thing in her life to pretend that she was a lawyer, and obviously maybe certificate printed out, put into her home.
Yeah.
She's saying she's had death threats and stuff, which is obviously not on. But
because just at the bottom there, Prod, if you pull that up really quick, it says, "I know nothing about Richard Gadd," which is the main character, the guy that gets stalked in the TV show. Apart from, it says, "I know nothing about Richard Gadd apart from his sorry little life story I listened to on a Sophie Hagen podcast he did with her when Baby Reindeer came out." This is somebody that is really fueled by hatred towards this person. If this was me and I was being miss, yo guys, it's not me, I would just come out and say, guys, this is not me, I would keep it short and sweet, and I wouldn't even really attack the person, Richard, you wouldn't have any feelings towards them.
Yeah. And at the end, she signs it up by saying, "I'm not Martha and I have no criminal convictions."
Yeah.
So it's all a bit mad.
I'm a heterosexual woman. It just goes, you know what? This Facebook thing could just be a little bit...
She's mad racist as well, you know.
Really?
Yeah, she is genuinely, there's racist tweets and all sorts.
Yeah, well, they do portray her
or bigoted tweets
in the show, don't they?
So, anyways, look, that is the situation with the Baby Reindeer stuff. If you haven't watched the series, go and give it a watch if this is the sort of stuff you're into. I'll be honest with you, I was more than happy just following the drama that followed online.
By the way, Richard Gadd was unbelievable in it as an actor.
He plays himself, which, considering the trauma that he went through, is pretty nuts. By the way, if you can hear stuff going around, Finn has found out that there is treats in a toy and he will not stop no matter what goes on. He all over it. You, if there's food, he's on it.
Yeah.
There was also that other part of the show, the other element to it, which if you haven't seen it, this is a spoiler alert, he did face some trauma with would you say he's a mentor? This comedic mentor?
I've seen this bit.
Yeah, and so essentially he'd faced sexual abuse from this man who used to get him really high on drugs. And this person is a real life individual and obviously actually someone from the comedy world who people are now trying to work out who it is. And there's been 4 or 5 suggestions as to who it could be.
There was one guy that looks really similar who people
Sean
really thought
Foley.
was, but apparently it's not him.
Yeah, this guy.
He's come out and said it's not him. Richard did a story as well saying it's not him.
You know what's mad is you see with stuff like this, that does, when it's a real story and the whole country really gets on it, there are unfortunately just going to be people that get caught up in the crossfire here who genuinely are not involved. If this guy isn't the guy,
then it's
and so it can actually get really dangerous because regardless, that is going to affect his career no matter what.
Yeah, a lot of Baby Reindeer sparks police probe after online sleuths wrongly identify theatre director Sean Foley as the guy from the show.
So there is that negative side to it. Anyways, let's move on. If you guys want to give that a watch, Chip and Proddy have both finished it and they thoroughly enjoyed it. What are you giving it out of 10?
I thought it was really good. I give it maybe an 8 out of 10. And I think a lot of it's carried by the fact that I really like the idea that he played his own part. I don't think I've ever watched something like that.
That's mad, isn't it?
I've seen someone play their own story like that. but he was really good. It's a little bit difficult to watch at times as well.
Yeah.
But you know that bit that we were just referencing where like this mentor.
Be careful if you're watching it.
I don't even. I know that it's like obviously not real happening like that, but the fact that I knew that was real, I was well put off.
Yeah,
that is disturbing.
Yeah.